let's talk with Robin in DC.
Ooh.
One of our repeats. Honestly, I love talking with Robin. Welcome back, Robin.
Hello.
Save us from the insanity, please.
Yeah, Robin, just so you know, you have been on a lot. So maybe after this one, we might take a little bit of a break for a while because we want, we've been hanging up without, finishing the show, talking to other people. But we have been getting a lot of great feedback talking to you. So happy to talk to you.
Definitely. I mean, if you guys want to continue any discussions, I'm always on Discord and stuff like that. I'm on the ACD Discord and everything. So if you guys do want to reach out and have a longer discussion, we can do that.
Cool.
Aside from the show.
What's your question for today, though? We do want to make sure we get to that.
Yeah, I'm just calling, just to kind of a big picture, whether or not atheism is rational at all.
Okay. What does rational mean to you? And I'm sorry, and that might sound like a nitpick, but I have a really, we want to make sure we understand. That
it is established that there is no God. How you can establish, you can give a logical argument, how you can establish that there is no God.
Well, first we're talking about rationality. So really quickly, you're asking about whether or not something is rational. Talking to a lot of apologists, they use internally. Oh, sorry.
Not. Never mind.
That? Oh, got it. Okay. Are you being internally consistent? And if you're internally consistent, then you're rational. I think that you need to have sufficient evidence to convince somebody in order to be rational. But I'm getting off. Go ahead, V.
No, that makes perfect sense. I like that definition. I think if it is internally consistent and also someone outside of your internal narrative also sees the sense of it, that is a good definition of rational to me. So, yeah. What about you? What do you define rationality as?
Well, I define. I'll probably take a step back to define what I believe truth to be.
Why? Why does it have anything to do with truth? Rationality and truth are not combined or necessarily contingent on each other.
I know that. I said I'm going to take a step back to. I want to get like a broader picture, though.
Well, that's the thing, Robin. We keep doing this, and I've noticed this because I've listened to the last two calls. Is you will ask a question, and then we will respond and ask you a question, and instead of answering the question we ask, you jump back farther and get broader. And I understand that can be just like a desire to make sure you get your whole point across, but to us, it really feels like you're dodging the question. So when I ask you what is rationality, and we agree that rationality and truth are not necessarily the same thing or necessarily connected, you talking about truth feels like a dodge.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll say this. Okay, so when I say something is rational, that I'm saying that when you justify it, that the conclusion is necessitated from the claims or the premises that you're making.
Okay, so a sound argument essentially is a rational thing. Okay, so you're defining rationality purely within a logical framework.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Which is why I said at the onset that you could provide a logical argument. So. I'm probably going to get pushback on this first statement or first question, which is how is it now that you can defend the proposition that there is no God?
I don't defend the proposition that there is no God.
Right. Okay. So I knew you were going to say that. Right. So the point I want to make here is that when it comes to belief in God as that which is the foundational thing that all things derive upon, okay, there is no neutrality towards what is ultimate, okay, for lack of a better term.
How do you determined that there is no neutrality?
Because ultimately everything is going to derive in anyone's worldview is going to derive from that which is going to be the ultimate context that everything is going to derive from.
So you say, but like that's like me saying.
I'm laying out my position, and then we can of course discuss it. But you asked me why I believe something, so I'm explaining it, and then we can get deeper into it. My position is that in order for you to have intelligible predication, you're going to need to ultimately reference some sort of an ultimate context or some sort of an ultimate foundation.
I disagree.
Okay. Right. Okay. So in your worldview, do you believe that facts require a context?
Context?
In order for them to be intelligible. Yeah.
Sure. If I say 42, the context is that it's the answer to life, the universe, and everything, but only because we understand it to be.
Okay. Okay. So the point I'm making, right, is that when you are saying that something requires a context, when I say that, for example, the Earth rotates around the sun, okay, that is going to be partially in light of a broader context of something, let's say, like the laws of physics, right? What I'm saying is that ultimately there's going to be an ultimate final stopping point, okay, that you're going to reference in order for your facts to be intelligible. So for the same reason that one fact is intelligible in virtue of, say, the laws of physics, you're going to need to have an ultimate context that even the laws of physics is going to derive upon, that was going to make the laws of physics even intelligible.
Again,
I know it's a rough analogy, but that's the point I'm trying to make.
I understand that that's your position, but I'm confused about why you're making me argue in the worldview that you've set up for me if I don't buy into it.
Oh, do you believe that you do not need an ultimate context?
I believe that you do not need an ultimate context.
Okay. Do you believe that there is anything that is ultimate?
We've already established this. Based on your definition of ultimate, I have seen no evidence for something that is ultimate, nor do I see a need for it. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm reserving judgment, but I certainly don't believe it does exist.
Okay. I think this will probably be a little more interesting to say then. Okay. So what constitutes evidence? What makes something worthy of belief in your opinion?
Good question. So for me to believe in something, what I would need personally is repeatability and predictability, right? So if I say, if I tip over my phone, it's going to fall on the desk and make a noise. The reason that I can believe that that happens is because I've done that multiple times, and every time that is what has happened. I've seen other people do that, and that's what's happened. If in some instance I tip my phone over and it floats above the desk, then that's not just going to be a strange occurrence. The reason that's going to be disconcerting is because I've built a belief around the fact that my phone is going to tip over, fall on the desk, and make a noise. That's how I determine whether or not something is believable, right? The sun is going to rise tomorrow. How do I know? Because it's risen every day up until today. If it doesn't rise tomorrow, then that's not just a strange event. That's going to make me rethink whether or not I believe that thing. But in terms of believing in an ultimate, whatever you define ultimate as, I haven't seen any testability, repeatability, or predictability that would allow me to say that is a thing, and I understand that that thing exists.
Okay, so I mean, to kind of encapsulate what you're saying, to see if I understand what you're saying that if something is not testable, something is not repeatable, then it's not worthy of belief in your opinion?
I would withhold belief before I would say sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you believe that the Earth was created 5 minutes ago?
No.
Or I'll put it this way. Do you believe that the Earth is more than 5 minutes old?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you test or repeat that?
Yes, I can.
How?
I can watch the beginning of this episode later.
You'd be presupposing the existence of the Earth.
And I win. Every single time this happens, I'm just going to say I win. If you have to resort to hard solipsism to defeat my argument, I win. That's a new rule.
I didn't. Hold on a minute. I didn't even use the word solipsism.
No, I know you didn't. I know
it's the furthest thing from my mind.
I know you didn't use it, but if your argument is that I can't tell for sure whether or not the world was created 5 minutes ago because I only have access to my own brain, that's hard solipsism.
No, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Nothing at all.
Okay, my bad.
I could apply solipsism to this, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, my bad.
I asked you specifically what your standard of belief was. And you said that something must be testable and repeatable. Okay. Then I asked you a follow-up question, asking you if if something is not testable and repeatable, would you not believe it? You said you would withhold belief in that. Well, clearly you've not withheld belief about the age of the Earth, because I asked you, and you gave me a very clear, unequivocal statement.
Right. It did not start 5 minutes ago.
Repeat that without begging the question.
Eric, did the Earth start 5 minutes ago?
Well, hold on a second.
Wait, it doesn't matter what Eric or anyone, unless you have an argument, or if you want to change your standard.
I'm confused about why you think this is a different standard.
Okay, because you posited a standard, and I made it clear, and I even asked follow-up questions to make sure that it was clear.
Right.
Well, okay, but now what it sounds like is that you're violating your own standard of belief.
I'm going to test.
You would like for something to be true. No,
I'm going to test right now whether the Earth is 5 minutes old. Eric, were you around 6 minutes ago?
Yes.
Okay. Chat, did you wake up this morning and have breakfast or coffee or snooze your alarm? Say yes if you did. Yeah. If not, then I'm concerned about how you're here.
Well, I think what V's pointing at here is this is evidence.
This is corroboration.
Yes, this is evidence in favor of the assertion that our universe is more than 5 minutes old.
Right.
These are all evidences towards that. And if we're building up a degree of confidence and deciding which to go for, we got to look at where the preponderance of evidence points us. And it appears that the preponderance of evidence is in a much, much older universe. And because that's the case, we are rational in accepting that. Now, we don't accept it as 100% true, because I don't think we can have absolute confidence about many things, but we can say, hey, we have a high degree of confidence and we're going to move forward on that. That's not an assumption. That is an evaluation of evidence.
Right. And also, this is now officially the burden of proof being switched here, because you are now making the claim that the world started 5 minutes ago. Give us your reasoning for that, because we are in no position and no obligation to negate a claim that you make. You have to provide evidence for it. So do you want to provide evidence that the universe started 5 minutes ago?
Maybe you can convince us.
Yeah.
Robin?
Hello?
It shows.
Eric, can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Yeah. Did you hear our question?
Yes, I did. I think my phone went to sleep, and so I think my microphone shuts off, but I can hear you perfectly.
No worries. Okay. Can you provide us with evidence that the universe started 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, I didn't make the claim that the universe started 5 minutes ago. I don't think you're tracking the conversation. I asked you to respond to a proposition in light of the standard that you provided to me. Okay. Now. And I
did. And now I'm asking, do you have backing for that proposition, or is this an unfalsifiable claim?
No. What you're doing again is how could you differentiate between a world that is more than 5 minutes old? How could you differentiate that with a world that was created 5 minutes ago that had the same memories of the past?
Hard
identical
solipsism. This is solipsism, dude. I win.
It's not. It doesn't.
I win. This is solipsism.
The fact that you look, you don't win if you can't provide an argument that is in line with your standard that you just gave to me.
Got it.
That's why I asked you for your standard in the beginning.
Sure. Okay. Right? Okay. Well, let's do this. We give ourselves permission to. That's why.
Permission to what?
To make this claim. We're giving ourselves permission. Now.
So you think that? I want to make sure that I want to make sure that this is. Okay, go ahead.
Where I'm going with this is, how do you determine that the universe is not 5 minutes old? How do you evaluate that claim? Are you giving yourself? Are you giving yourself permission?
From what you're talking, you're shifting it to me when I asked you a question about your standard.
Because I responded, and now I'm asking how you deal with it, because that's a curious question. And so if we're not going to hard solipsism, which V said, right?
He has a God antenna. We established this.
But hold on. So he's giving himself permission, which means we're on even ground, except I don't need a God antenna to do it. So I don't understand.
Look, this isn't even about God yet.
It's not? Okay, so how do you get out of the problem of hard solipsism? How do you get out of the problem of thinking
This isn't about solipsism either.
Okay, wait, hold on. I think we might be confusing what solipsism is. I know the traditional hard solipsist, example is brain in a vat, right? And I know you're not saying that we're brains in vats. You haven't used those words.
Right.
But the argument that hard solipsists make, that bottom line, is that this universe could have been created a second ago and it doesn't really exist outside of your brain, and all of your memories and experiences are just part of your brain, but they don't actually track to reality. That is solipsism.
I know, but what I'm saying and hard solipsism, they're not mutually inclusive. So you shouldn't be doing that, like by trying to paint my argument as that, because they're not mutually inclusive. Okay, I'm not talking about hard solipsism. Okay, you could be a theist and believe that the Earth was created 5 minutes ago.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's even okay. It's irrelevant.
The question is, have you evaluated the evidence? So what do you do? We answered the question. This was the answer to the question. Now we're asking you the same question because we want to see where you lie on it.
No, you think that we resolved this issue, but we haven't.
No, I didn't say we resolved it. I said we answered the question.
This is what a conversation feels like.
Yeah, now we're bouncing the question back to you because we want to know how your view is different from ours.
Okay, there's a lot I want to say about what you're saying, but to move the conversation along, okay, I'll answer your question.
Cool.
So what I believe, okay, and I brought this up in the past 2 calls, which is that I have a revelatory epistemology, okay, meaning that all things that I know, they're only in virtue of God's revelation.
Cool.
So God revealed to you that the universe is more than 5 minutes old.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's that is special pleading.
No, it's not. Well,
how is it not special pleading?
Circular.
No. It's not just that it's circular. I'm not even arguing the circularity of it because I think we already hit that last week, and if we go over that again, we're just wasting people's time and each other's. So it's not about whether or not it's circular. It's special pleading. I said we give ourselves special permission. So it sounds like you're giving yourself special permission. Is that about right?
This is a side issue. No, because what I was addressing was her consistency with her standard, not whether or not her standard was correct.
Their consistency with their standard, but continue.
Okay. I was talking about V's consistency with the standard, okay? Now, if it doesn't matter what somebody could give Allah as their standard, that's not really relevant to me. I asked what your standard was, V, okay, to determine what was good evidence. And the line of reasoning that you provided about the age of the Earth was not in line with the standard that you gave me.
Wait, how on earth is me saying, hey, I'm going to go corroborate this, not in line with my standard of predictability and repeatability?
You can't repeatably create the universe.
I can repeatedly find people who tell me that the Earth is not 5 minutes old.
You can repeatedly find a whole lot of weird people.
How would you differentiate that? How would you differentiate, okay, a world that is however many billions of years old from a world that was created 5 minutes ago with all of the memories of the past?
How is this not solipsism?
You're not going to get a different response.
Okay.
You're not going to, presumably you're not going to get a different response from either of them.
Okay, so do you agree that is an unfalsifiable question?
No.
No? Okay, so how can you falsify?
This is not about unfalsifiability. This is about consistency.
You just said, how can you determine the difference, with the implication being we cannot? That is the definition of unfalsifiability.
No, this is not about unfalsifiability.
Okay.
Again, this is about the standard that you gave me about what is worthy of belief, and you're in violation of that standard. Okay, so if you want to give me a different standard, or if you want to add on to that standard,
preponderance of evidence.
Hear what your standard of proof is.
Okay,
I'm perfectly game with doing that.
Sure, take it out of an unfalsifiable. Give us a different example that's not unfalsifiable. Let's start with that, because what you're doing is you're arguing into a box, and it's really weird.
Because you don't like the proposition I provided, and you can't provide a justification. You don't want to.
Sure.
I mean, this seems like you just believe what you want to believe, even if it's in violation of the standard that you gave me.
It seems to us. It seems to us that you are using the exact same tools of logic that we are. That you are depending upon the premise, the idea that the laws of logic are consistent. You are evaluating the world the same way we are by looking at the evidence, but you have a different view of the evidence. And on top of that, you're overlaying this idea that you have a special antenna, right? That you are receiving revelation. That we've asked you before, right? And the very first time you called in, we asked you, how can we determine revelation from a lie? And you didn't give it to us.
I did. I told you God's revelation would be the barometer. But again,
no. Hold on. So
separate.
The liar gets to tell you whether or not they were true, that they were right. They're both saying they've got revelation from God.
Right. But God's revelation.
No. So here's an example.
Be the barometer.
V says I have 25 cents in my pocket. I say I have 15 cents in my pocket. We both say that God revealed to us our answer. How do you determine which one is it? If you say revelation, we're both telling you it was revealed to us. So what now?
I would look into your pockets and see. That's irrelevant. But
No.
It's not relevant.
It's not.
That is exactly the point.
I would withhold belief, right? That's your whole game, right?
No.
I would withhold belief.
Exactly, which is why your claim of revelatory epistemology is bunk, because you're right. You should not use revelatory epistemology to determine whether or not a claim is true. You should still withhold belief. Correct, Robin.
No.
That is the right answer. You gave the right answer.
You're missing the point, Eric. With all due respect, you're missing the point. Okay. You're missing the point. This is first of all, this is far removed from what I was talking about with standard of evidence. But if you want to go here to this point of revelatory epistemology, I'd be happy to do that.
Oh, I think that standards of evidence is exactly where we want to go when talking about revelatory epistemology.
Well, I mean, yeah, because what you're doing is you're trying to give us a unfalsifiable example and trying to have us argue out of it by giving yourself a special permission out of it and saying that we don't have that special. It's very weird. I think that if we lived in that world that you're describing, every recipe and every cookbook needs to be God exists, gives us consistency in the universe. Now start with 2 eggs and get your flour and your sugar and move forward.
It's almost 1. It's
Holy
like 2
crap.
minutes
We've
to
got
1.
like 4 other people on the line. Robin, you do this every time. You know that?
Look, guys, look.
Every time.
I mean, this has been great talking to you guys. If you're on Discord, I would be more than happy to talk to you on the ACD. You could reach out to me. You can get the mods there, because I know some of the mods might know who I am there.
No,
I mean, if you want to talk, we can do that.
Robin, we limit these interactions specifically to this show because we've been tagged in for over the last few years. I know over the last 5 years, I cannot begin to tell you how many Twitter arguments I've been tagged into, Facebook arguments, things on Discord, and since we only have so many spoons, we limit those arguments to this show. Robin?
Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you for calling in. This was familiarly infuriating, and I enjoyed it very much.
It's so good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for picking up my call, and I won't call next week. I know I've been on here for a while, so
we'll take a break.
Thanks for taking my call.
Go to church.
Yeah.
Take care of what you need to take care of, and we're not angry at you for doing what you got to do.
Nah,
but
you're good. All right. Thanks, Robin. I can't believe you just told someone to go to church.
He's going to do what he's going to do.
Show.
No, that's fine.
Oh my goodness.
What? So if I go to a house, I've interacted with people who've been very Christian, and after everything, they've looked at me and said, "Well, do you mind if we pray before our meal?" And it's just like, of course, you need to do what you need to do. Do your faith traditions. I think that your reasoning behind it is wrong, but I'm not going to sit here. This whole idea of the angry atheist at the restaurant yelling at the poor Christian family trying to pray before.
I mean, there's a difference between yelling at somebody trying to pray and telling someone to go to church.
Okay, he said that he goes to church during this time, and he didn't know if he could call back.
Okay, I'm giving you a hard time. Okay.